One. Welcome back, y'all.
Oh my God. Did you start first?
Wow.
Things are changing here.
Nope. And
it only took almost the whole season, but we're here.
And we're going to go right back to you started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Glad you guys can join us again. You have no choice because you got to watch this.
Right. Exactly. How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling? I don't know why we're talking so low, like as if we're like hostages or whatever, but
like we're trying to do ASMR. Like, and then
he went into the room and found her sleeping. I think I can do ASMR. I have a deep voice. I can transition from woman to man.
Now your viewers are looking at you funny.
Like, is she a man? We don't know.
The world will never know.
This mustache might tell you different, but here we are. Anyways, we are here to talk about nostalgia. We tried to keep it light today, so Peggy came up with the idea. We got some great responses on Instagram. But first, we want to read off the definition of nostalgia. I think we say it, but we don't know the true. I personally don't know word from word the definition.
I never looked up the definition either until we had to record for the show. But I've used it. I've heard people say like, "Oh, this brings great nostalgia," blah blah blah. But I typically say, "Oh, this song brings me back," but that's similar to what it is. But the online definition for nostalgia is a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or place with happy personal associations. So anything that can bring you back to a certain memory, a period in time, so like a particular decade. Like a lot of us say, oh, we love 90s music. Certain songs brings back nostalgia. That's what we mean. So it's good to understand the definitions of something while you're using it.
I'm curious, when somebody's like, oh, that's so nostalgic. Like when you hear the word nostalgia, like we had like an overview of what it meant. But when you hear the word nostalgia, what's the first thing that comes into your head?
Watching Disney as a kid.
Yeah.
At night though, after being outside all damn day.
Yes, that part. Dirty as hell, just being outside.
You smell like outside.
You smell like outside. I think that when I hear the word, I just think of like my family and my cousins and like being outside.
Yeah, as a kid.
Yeah, like getting dirty and just having fun.
Not worrying about anything, because you're a kid, like you're having fun, you're being a child.
Yeah, them sleeps were the best. When you've been outside all day and you go take a shower, eat dinner, and go to bed. I haven't had a sleep like that in a very long time.
I haven't slept this good since I left my mother's womb, honestly. That was the last time I got good sleep. Like uninterrupted sleep.
When a Virgo's mind just starts at time of birth.
But again, yes, we appreciate those of you who commented. I think this one, out of all the polling questions I've ever posted for our IG, this was the one that we got the most interaction. Thank you. We love for the fact that you guys are interacting.
We love the engagement.
Yes, we need that.
So do you want to start with the first question?
Yes. So the first question that we had asked online was, what was your favorite cartoon to watch as a kid?
So what was yours? So before we share.
Mine was watching Power Rangers and then trying to reenact the scenes with my niece.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm the Pink Ranger. You're the yellow one.
Oh my God. I did not know you were that kid. Like that kid that was like, that wasn't girly. That was like,
no, I wasn't girly.
Going to practice these moves on your ass.
Yeah, we were jumping off.
Damn near kill you.
This is when, so the way that our house was set up, in Dorchester, the house that we were living in was on the first floor. So when you walk in, it's like this weird obscure room. I guess it's supposed to be the dining room, but it's open space. And then you make a right, that's the living room. And of course, this is the 90s, y'all. The couches being covered in plastic, right? So there were times me and my niece would be left home alone to a certain extent, but nothing crazy. kids today, you cannot leave them by themselves. You cannot. It's a different breed of children. We were left home by ourselves, but not days at a time. It'll be for a couple of hours.
We didn't have access to internet, too.
We didn't have access to the internet, so it's literally you're either outside or indoors watching TV. But when no one was home, we were told we could not go outside. Like, the windows would be open, we got to stay inside with the fan on. Yeah. So we'd be inside, we'd watch Power Rangers, and then once the show is done, like, all right, let's reenact it. So we're like, the carpet is such and such, and we start fighting, throwing kicks, like, yeah, like doing mad dumb shit. Me and my nieces do dumb stuff. We're only literally 3 years apart. So me and her, we were our own entertainment, and we had our own imagination. We'll create stuff like, oh, the carpet's hot lava. Let's jump on the couches. We know we couldn't
Why
do
did
it.
we all have the same? I swear to God, kids had the same childhood, but don't even realize it.
Yep, we all did. Like, don't lean on the carpet. It's hot lava, or don't step on the cracks. You break your mama's back.
Exactly.
So that was the list.
So, well, for me.
Well, yours, sorry.
I think my favorite childhood cartoon to watch as a kid was, I initially said Sailor Moon.
Oh, I like Sailor Moon.
Because that was like me and my cousins staying after school.
Used to
and
come
like
on
on the
in the
weekend.
morning.
Yep. Or now that I'm thinking about it, my favorite show to watch on the weekend as a kid was Bobby's World.
Oh, I liked Bobby's World.
Me too.
Oh my God, you're bringing
that was
it back.
super, super nostalgic to me because that was before we had cable. That was before, like, we had the box TV, the wooden box TV.
Yeah, you had to get up and go change the dial.
Yeah,
like
God forbid that dial's broken. Now you gotta fucking
get a wrench to turn it.
Yeah.
We worked out as children because our parents would send us to get up and go change the TV. Like they couldn't get up and do it themselves, but that's besides the point. But the list that you guys wrote for us, we had Darkwing Duck. I remember that.
I don't remember that.
I remember it. Doraemon. Don't recall that.
I think that's like a Spanish like cartoon.
Oh, okay. Looney Tunes was definitely my fave. Sailor Moon, yes. Naruto.
It's an anime.
I don't watch anime, but my students loves it, and they tell me about it, but I never watched it. Ninja Turtle, yes.
Definitely.
Hey Arnold, oh my God, yes. Arthur, I love Arthur.
Yes.
Power Rangers, Rugrats, Doug, and Daria.
Daria, that was like my preteen days.
Yep.
Daria is my preteen days.
I love that shit. Honestly, I can't really talk on today's cartoons because I don't watch them. Per se, I'm not like on the Cartoon Channel or whatever, but I know there's like certain networks that dedicate the old school cartoons from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, early 2000s. They dedicate for that. Like there's some other cartoons that came out that, you know, some of them came out in like late 70s, early 80s, but they were still running them in the 90s. Yeah. So like the very early versions of Scooby-Doo, I love watching Scooby-Doo. I can watch it all day. When they had a marathon, I would watch it. Captain Planet, I watched that in the morning before.
I don't remember that.
I used to watch it in the morning because it would come on in the morning when I was getting ready to go to school. So it would just be on. So, you know, parents used to be like, oh, the TV's bad, it's bad, bad, bad. But I'm like, honestly, like those cartoons, even if there were certain messages, it didn't click. Like, you know, there's certain clips where they say, oh, there was like certain things that were said in Hey Arnold that we didn't understand it as children, but when you watch it as an adult, you kind of get it like, oh, it had a message, right? Even now, like SpongeBob came out in '99. I was watching SpongeBob at that time. And then when you look back at the clips, they would like Instagram. Now people on Twitter, Black Twitter is breaking down. I'm like, oh shit, some of those scenes were inappropriate, but we didn't know that because we were children.
Like Cat Dog, Ren and Stimpy, super inappropriate.
Yo, Ren and Stimpy and Cat Dog, me and my niece would watch that faithfully. We thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Or Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Inappropriate as fuck.
But I love it. That dog was so scary, but then he was saving Muriel. Yo, literally, like you're scared, but then you're trying to save their lives. Like that's also me. Like I'm scary, but I wanna make sure my people that I care for are good. But I definitely missed that era. I think for those of you who still want to watch those, I think Pluto or Tubi, it's a free app that you can watch. I think Pluto has it. There's literally channel on there that you can watch like old school cartoons. Like I literally found Scooby-Doo. I found a whole bunch of the stuff that we mentioned here that's on there. Yeah. I don't know if they have a one specifically designated for anime, But the old school cartoons that most of you guys mentioned here, it's on there. I think it's Pluto.
As you guys know, I have a niece who is, she turned 5 months today.
She's a baby
She is watching all of our old school shows, like
Really?
literally,
Your sister
and she
never watched
watches them. She's
I
even
love
watching.
it.
What is the guy? Mr. Rogers. She's been watching Mr. Rogers. She's been watching literally all the old school stuff, and she like watches it like oh, girl, everything. I don't know where my sister be finding this. She's like, yeah, she was just watching. You know, when she said Mr. Rogers, I'm like, okay, where the hell are you finding these things?
Yeah.
Yeah, my baby's watching
YouTube,
right?
Because you can upload like, I think YouTube, if you subscribe to that particular channel, they have one with Sesame Street from all their seasons. Like you can watch from back in the day when they first started.
Yeah.
And they probably have one designated for Mr. Rogers. I used to love watching Mr. Rogers when he used to zip up his little sweater.
I know. Or sit on the bench and take his shoes off.
Yep.
Switch off
and switch off. Yeah.
And then go to the little
and
train
he had some dope messages on there too.
Yeah.
I think that's why some of us are decent human beings, because of the shows we were watching as children.
Exactly.
Okay, so the next topic that we brought up, and thanks again for you guys for commenting on this, was your first memory of music. You want to go with yours?
My first memory of music was, we had those it's like a 3-piece, right? It's the 2 long speakers, and then the center had like the record player where you can adjust the sound, you can put the record on top of whatever. And we used to listen to Michael Jackson. Like my mom and my aunts had Michael Jackson records. So where to go? They died for him. Like, so that was my memory of like music. But then as far as like hip hop is concerned, my older brother used to listen to a lot of like West Coast music. So I was hip to Dr. Dre, NWA, Ice Cube, all of that. So yeah,
good.
Music, Michael Jackson. But then like hip hop was through my brother.
Yes, similar, like almost similar to what you were saying. Like for me, growing up, my mother didn't want me to watch music videos. She thought, oh, it was bad, but I was still exposed to music. So what I didn't bring up was like I like old school Haitian compa because of my dad, and he also had a record player. So my brother that I follow, but we're 9 years apart, he super influenced with music that he wanted to be a DJ since he came to the States. So when I started seeing him on his turntables and stuff, my ass was gonna use my dad's record player trying to scratch. But he wasn't home when I was doing it. Like,
he's like, why is this record skipping?
But can you imagine my Haitian ass telling my parents, I want to be a DJ? My mother would have a heart attack.
You're gonna DJ your ass back into that room and do your homework.
Like, I want to be
so
a
you
DJ.
can become a nurse.
But it's amazing, and I think it's dope when I see women that are DJing. I think it's dope to see women who are DJing, because because we grew up in an era where things were literally based off of gender. So like it was typically known for men.
It was gender associated things.
And we did have some women DJs, but it wasn't a lot.
It
I mean, we still don't have a lot, but it's still a bit more now than before. But mine was seeing Michael Jackson on MTV. So
them bitches was falling out for that. I have yet to see an artist to this day fall out for an artist. Like a fan fall out for an artist.
The video I saw was the one Thriller, and of course it came out in 82, 83, but I'm an 80s baby, so when I saw, MTV has this moments when it starts replaying videos, MTV Raps, that was still on the air. And watching it, I'm like, yo, the choreography is crazy. Now, like, for, like, when I see, like, people do the same choreography, I think it's so dope. Because, like, even though he's passed away over 10 years ago.
He's
like,
still influential.
And that's why people say, like, music crosses cultures. It doesn't matter what language you speak, nothing. Like, I've listened to Cape Verdean music. I listen to Spanish music. I don't know what they're talking about. I only catch, like, 2-3 words. I'm like, oh, they're talking about love or whatever. But it's the beat that moves you. You know what I mean? So I thought it was dope to see that, but of course I've been mostly more influenced by hip hop because of my brother, him trying to DJ, hearing him DJing in the living room playing music. So I was heavily influenced with hip hop. a lot, and then being able to sneak in when my mother wasn't home, like watching some of when we first had cable, that one box in the living room. Not everyone had TV in the room.
The A side and the B side.
A side, B side. Watching BT, watching some SWV, catching some Keith Sweat, some Tupac, Biggie Smalls on the screen. I was like, oh, I love this. You know what I mean? Mama thought it was gonna be a bad influence, but it really wasn't. It really depends on the child, but it really wasn't. In fact, I've always loved music till this day. So just go get in my car, I would be listening to the most rambunctious fucking music.
I feel like sometimes you listen to a lot of like radio.
No, but I got my radio.
Not like XM. You're not listening to the radio, but I'm like music that is found on the radio.
Yes, typically.
Yeah.
That's why I have you share your list of music with me, because you have.
I've been on this like R&B binge, so I feel like I'm just gonna bring you down with me. It's a scary road.
So here's the list. What your first memory of music? Someone had "Let's Talk About Sex."
Oh Jesus.
"In the Rain" by the Dramatics. All the instruments my dad had around the house. Project Living, Boombox was everything, but at night it was all R&B.
Boombox.
Boombox.
I had a boombox up until I was like in my 20s.
Really? My dad had one.
A little boombox with a little CD player.
Yep, my dad had one. Definitely had one. Barney, I Love You. I'm dying. Cleaning, followed by parties. Listening to Tupac. Mom playing Celine Dion, aunts playing B2K and CD.
That was my niece. My sister had us on. My sister had Celine Dion.
Haitians love Celine Dion.
Chokehold. Had these little 7-year-old kids. My nieces singing Celine Dion.
Haitians love Celine Dion. Yo. Watch MJ music videos. And hearing "Today Was a Good Day" by Ice Cube.
That song still slaps.
Still slaps till this day.
Like
Let that
a good
shit come
summer
on.
day.
I'm turning it on.
Yeah,
I'm turning it up.
that shit.
Yes. Next one, the decade you were born.
So we had a few people. We had majority 80s baby, which makes sense because we're 80s babies. So I feel like our demographic and people that
don't it look like we were like late 90s babies though?
We could pass for 2000 babies.
Capped. It's capped. To the max. Come on now. Let's not lie.
So we had a handful of 80s babies, 1 or 2 90s babies, and we had 1 2000s baby.
It's actually scary because
Are we boring to you? Like
I teach 2000 babies, and the next group I'm getting, they were actually born in 05, 06, and I'm like, that's when I was graduating high school. These kids were born, and the group that just graduated, that's going to graduate in a couple of weeks. They are actually like the 2004 babies.
Oh Jesus.
Yes.
So they could have been our children.
Yeah, they literally could have been our kids. That's the craziest thing.
Would you consider someone who's born in 1989 as an 80s baby or a 90s baby? I feel like you're on the cusp. Like
you're on the cusp, but it's facts are facts. You're still born in the 80s. You're just born at the end.
What if you was born December 31st, 1989?
I still wouldn't call you 90s baby because on that damn birth certificate it says 1989. But they can say literally. I mean, this is my own personal opinion, but someone who's born December 31st, 1989, they might feel like they're more so of a 90s baby because they got to enjoy and experience the 90s more. And I'm in the same realm because I was born in 86. I was only 3 when the 80s ended. So I didn't really get to enjoy like all the cartoons and experiences of the 80s.
We experienced the best decade of all decades, the 90s. Like the 90s still slaps to this day.
What?
Music is influenced by the 90s. Our wardrobe, our style, like
some of it was tacky.
but it's coming back a little more refined. Like bell bottoms are coming back. Mom jeans has been out for a little bit, but like things that we were doing in the 90s, they're doing it now. Like color blocking, like color block is like coming back.
Well, the bell bottoms were definitely the 70s. My father thought when I wore it, my father was like, that ain't nothing new. I was wearing that when I was your age. I'm like, oh.
Have you noticed that the things that are coming back that we were once wearing? Do you wear them? Like, okay, so for instance, there's these, it's called platform. So it's platform shoes, but it's not like, it's just one long shoe. Like, it doesn't have an arch to it. It's called platforms. It's a big platform shoe.
And like the sandals?
It's the sandals. The
the Steve Madden ones?
Yes.
I had them.
I seen them, and my nieces, I think, like them. And I was like, you could never catch me in
No, I'm not wearing those again. Not with these ankles I got. You don't want to trip. You don't want to go flip on those. But no, those were a thing. There's certain things I wouldn't mind wearing. Again, now that I've learned as an adult, certain things do not go out of style or they come back. There's certain things I'll just hold on to. I'll just probably wash and put them somewhere to preserve it. But I would not get rid of them. Like, I thought capri pants were gonna go somewhere, and they have made a way back. And then my math
They have.
Not made a way back, but there's certain pants that are still capri cut style. They're not as big as they were when we were growing up, but like, remember our math teacher, Miss Merrill? I had on a pair, and I was going to summer school that year, and she was like,
Miss Merrill taught my sister?
I think you told me that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, look at my little capri pants, they're cute, they're new. She's like, child, this is what I wore back in my day. She's like, they ain't nothing new under the sun. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I didn't know that. Like, I think there was a TikTok video real quick where a girl was like losing her mind because she saw a skirt, like shorts and skirt.
Like excited about it, or
no? She was like weirded out, like, oh my God, these are brand new. Like, I never seen like. And someone's like, can someone tell her that this already came out like in the
several times?
Several times. Can she like not? It's the way she was trying to describe it. Like, it was like
if it was a new style, like
brand new style. I'm like, who child? God bless their souls. But the craziest thing for me is like, I was born in 86, so I didn't get to enjoy the 80s. I really enjoyed the 90s. That's when I started to become an adult. Well, not adult yet, but like a child, preteen years, watching Family Matters, and what was that other show? Step by Step. What's the other show I used to watch? Full House. Oh. I miss being a kid.
Adulting is for the ghetto. I do not recommend. 1 star, for sure.
Star.
I hate it.
Half a star.
Because you're not even on the fucking board. Like, no stars for you.
And I had the audacity
to try to rush it.
I can't wait to be an adult to do whatever I want. Yeah, I can do whatever I want now, but it comes at a cost.
It comes at a cost, a hefty cost.
A hefty cost that I don't really want to make. But yes, the 80s babies are definitely in the house, so we know what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay, favorite childhood memory.
What's yours? Mine is playing outside with my cousins. We used to do this thing because our parents didn't have a lot of money, so we got very creative. So we would play. Oh my God, this is bad. So we would play like baseball with like whatever sticks we could find outside and like rocks.
God,
girl, terrible. We had another game Mancala. We didn't have the game, and the one that we did have was like, it's so dope. Like, my grandmother had it made in Cape Verde, so it's like carved out of wood, and it has like all of these like landmarks in Cape Verde. Like, it's so pretty. She would not let anyone touch it. I don't know. I think my cousin has it. It was like, that was like one memory that I had with my grandmother. Like, we used to play with her and we used to let her cheat, and she used to fight us if we tried to call her out on cheating. Oh Lord. And then so to play that without using that, because she wouldn't let us use it, we would get an egg carton and we would just find like really smooth like pebbles and rocks and use that to play. We was very creative as kids. Like, we're gonna play with the fucking game that we want to play.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my childhood memory. Just being outside with my cousins. I mean, there was 9 of us at any given time, and my mom would be the one that would mainly watch us. So she would throw us outside until it's time for lunch or whatever. Come inside, eat. No laughing, no talking. Just eat your shit and get the fuck out. And then my mom used to like give us like make ice cream with like Kool-Aid, like the little ices. Because there was so many of us, she couldn't buy ice cream, and then like it'd be just one serving. Like 9 kids, it's 1 box of ice cream. Like,
that's crazy.
So she would make it in a styrofoam cup, and that would be like our lunch, like after snack situation. I had a bomb childhood.
Mine is kind of similar. So during the summer, me and my niece, I remember we would get up around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And we'll have breakfast, and we were told before we go outside we have to do like our little mini chores and stuff. So we started pretty young with the chores, but small things like clean up your room, make your bed. You know, those are small things. Like, at
what age?
What?
Were you doing this? Like, when did they start?
I I mean, making the bed part, I don't remember when we started, but I remember 8, 9 years old in the morning during the summer, I was making my bed. Like, they really enforced it more in the weekends and in the summer because we were home more, as opposed to during the school year. They know we were getting up, getting ready to go to school. But I don't remember when it started, but I remember more so in the summer because we were there all day. Yeah. Get up, wash up, make your bed, open the windows and all that stuff, eat breakfast, and then you can go outside. Now, if it was like super hot, like one of those days is gonna be like 95 or 100, my mom would say we have to stay on the porch until later on the evening because we were on the first floor, so the upper porch is covered, it shaded our first floor porch. So they said, yeah, you can't be, they didn't want us to be out in the sun because, you know, heat stroke and stuff, but I didn't know it was because of that. So me and my niece would get upset like, man, we can't even go outside, we gotta be on this stupid ass porch. So, but we'll still make the best of it. We'll grab our dolls or whatever and play in the back on the porch. And then when the sun got a different angle, my mom was like, okay, you can go grab your bike. So grab our bikes. We'll be outside all day. And then like 7 o'clock, like we'll go in 12, 1 o'clock for lunch, eat whatever that was made. And
was it the dinner that you were gonna have later?
No.
My mom would make dinner at like.
But
lunch.
if it was a dinner that they made the day before, like if they made Haitian spaghetti, that's what I would have for lunch, and then damn for sure is gonna be the one I have for dinner. You know, so we didn't have options like these kids have.
Maybe you don't finish your lunch. That's your dinner.
So we would eat that and then go back outside at 7 o'clock. Get told come inside, wash your ass, take a shower, and then me and my niece would get ready to watch Disney, whatever movie that came on. We watch it that night.
Yeah.
I miss those summer nights as a kid. Like I miss those nights. Like I really miss those shits. Like I wish I can get that shit back. But okay, y'all responded back to us with your favorite childhood memories. So of course some of you guys had after school cartoons, kickball on the streets, bike riding on Sundays. 4 of you had like playing outside with friends, walking from Mission Hill to Copley to have dinner with mom, watching,
which I think is so sweet. Like what?
I think that that's dope. Watching wrestling and being around family. Like wrestling, WWE was my grandmother's favorite thing.
Yes.
My grandmother loved that. She watched it faithfully every Monday. Couldn't tell her nothing.
My mom, that was the only thing we watched that was the one thing we watched as a family. If it wasn't Three Stooges, it was wrestling.
My dad loves Three Stooges.
And I was like, the day I found out it wasn't like actual people getting their ass beat, I was pissed.
And it's still on now. Yeah. It still comes on.
No, and it's still prevalent.
People like that. People still buy tickets and go to it. And the last one, competing with sisters on the beat chair.
No, sorry, that was mine. So you know the Bratz doll head thing that used to practice doing hair like that? It was just the head.
Okay.
So that was my niece.
Okay.
Her and her sisters used to have like the Bratz head doll.
Oh, I remember.
And they used to compete like on whose hairstyle was the best. Like
y'all are cute.
Yeah.
I also remember like till this day, if it was to come on, my dad would watch it all day. Like it's Looney Tunes, so my dad used to love watching, in particular, the Bugs Bunny episodes.
Yeah.
Love watching it. We would also watch, my mom and my grandmother love watching the Golden Girls, and I'm not gonna lie, I will binge watch that shit.
Right the fuck now.
Okay. You know another show I used to watch, but I never watched it growing up, but I remember, this is before streaming sites, so Comcast had the episodes you watching on demand. This is when on demand started becoming a thing. And the show, it's really old. I think it came out in the 70s. The woman that was on the Golden Girls, the older one, I think they call her Maude.
I don't remember.
But she had her own spinoff before then. And she had like a whole series, Maude. And actually she was like, I don't know if she was a Virgo in real life, but her comebacks and her shadiness on that show had me dying. Like, some people be like, oh my God, you're watching that old show. But I'm like, yo, those shows, like the shade that was thrown back then, you know, nowadays it'll be inappropriate. You're not supposed to talk like that. It's not cool. You gotta be politically correct and whatnot. Yeah. So, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the old cartoons and shows that we used to watch, I actually love watching them. And there's certain shows that really weren't our age yet because it wasn't out. We weren't born yet when it came out. I'm like, oh, I actually find this quite interesting watching it. So
I just want to share 2 childhood memories that still lives with our family. So the first one was my sister was doing a graduation party for my niece. Was it my niece? It was a birthday party. And so she wanted us to clean the backyard, like take all the rocks out of the way, like kick it somewhere. just so that when the kids are running in the backyard, they're not like flap with their ankles. And so my cousin, who was grounded, I guess in the kindergarten time, they just don't go outside, helped me, knowing she wasn't supposed to go outside, but she came outside anyway. So we had this really tall brown fence, and I was like, yo, I don't know where to put these rocks, right? Like these rocks and these pebbles, let's just throw it over the fence onto the neighbor's yard. And she was like, okay. So we're throwing, and I got like this, we're throwing rocks or whatever.
Oh my God.
When I tell you this thing was at least 8 feet tall, so we have to really try to throw the rock over the fence.
Oh, annoying.
Long story short, I pick up a decent sized rock. I wouldn't say it was too big, but as a child, it was probably way too big. Pick it up and I throw it, but don't look, right? And the shit bounced off the fucking fence and hit my cousin on top of the head. And my cousin screamed bloody murder. And then now I'm panicking because one, she's not supposed to be outside. I don't know, I almost killed this girl. And she went holding her head, screaming, and she sees blood, and now she's literally losing her shit. My sister-in-law at the time ends up taking her to the hospital to get stitches. And my family caught wind. She got her ass beat for being outside.
Oh my God, they don't care if you're hurt. You're still gonna get your ass beat.
Oh, you fine? You went to the hospital? You got stuff? Yeah. Her dad whooped her ass. But long story short,
and still
to this day, everybody in the family, because my cousin's husband started this, we call her The Rock. And we do The Rock theme song. When she walks into her room, we're like, and when you smell what The Rock is cooking, she gets so fucking mad. So mad. This happened when we were 11 years old. We're in our 30s. She still lives that
11 years old. Bitch, that was 98, 99.
Yeah. So 2 decades strong. And she's just been living with that, and she hates it so much. And then that same house we was throwing the rocks over to, there was an older woman who loved us. And every time we were outside, she always manages to give us candy. She was like, oh my God, you guys are outside? Are you going to be outside for another 30 more minutes? And we're like, yeah. And then she'll go out her window and dump a store bag full of cookies and candy and all this stuff. And my mom was like, where do y'all keep getting this candy? And then she realized the lady was giving it to us. And her name was Malin. She was so freaking nice. And my cousin made up a lie and said, yo, I went into her house, and when you go into her house, she has candy everywhere. She has it all over. She has it on the ceiling. She has it. And we're like, really? Wow.
You can't say that shit to these kids now. They're like, you're cap. That's cap.
Not only that, oh, she's a predator.
Yeah.
Why she got all that candy in her house? But she was
shit.
so sweet. She loved us, and she's always taking care of us. She used to always take care of us. Unless she moved or passed away, I can't remember. But yeah, that was the highlight. We would be outside sweating up a storm playing games, and she was like, you guys are gonna be out here for a while? And we're like, yeah. No, and then when we need to be going inside, we'll stay out there until that bag of candy drop on the ground. So yeah.
So the next question we asked, it was a polling question, was favorite decade of music. So 0% for the 70s and earlier, 8% for the 80s, 58% for the 90s, and 33% for the 2000s. So
the 90s is our peak as a humanity.
Yes.
It's just, it is. It is what it is.
Literally. So what I'll say is, I know no one chose the 70s or earlier, but what I will say is y'all sleeping on those decades because a lot of the music...
They influence the music now.
So a lot of the 90s music and the 80s music that we listen to, a lot of them were sampled by the songs that were already out in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Now, I realize more recently, more of the music out now, they're sampling the music that came out in the 90s, early 2000s, and these kids now, super unaware, thinking this is brand new. I'm like, no, this shit's been sampled. That's the crazy thing. It's been sampled. Prime example, Drake's song, Nice for What? What some of my students 2 years ago, 3 years ago when it came out was like, oh my God, it's brand new. I'm like, that's a whole Lauryn Hill sample. Granted, Lauryn Hill sampled that song as well, but they couldn't believe it. They were trying to argue with me. Lord. And I think, you know what I think is different too. I'm not trying to downplay one generation over the other. Our generation of kids, the older it does, even though we didn't grow up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s, we were born in that time period. We're super well aware of the music from back then. Like, we love it, we embrace it. Sometimes we'll listen to it because our parents grew up listening to it. But some kids now, and I can't say all, some of them are unaware of like 90s R&B, even from 80s. 70s music, 70s soul, 60s soul, 50s soul music, a lot of those music that came out. And the thing that amazes me so much is the songs that came out then, 50s, 60s, 70s, even earlier, you had a live band in the studio doing it, and you had to get it right. You had to record it and get it right then. It's not like now you're doing everything on a computer,
it's all manipulated,
garage band and all that stuff. No, you had to get it right and record it right that same time.
Oh, you have to start from the very beginning.
And it takes a lot of
start from the top.
Lord, imagine starting from the top.
Yeah.
When you fuck that shit up. Yeah. But I think that was, I think like you said, the 90s was like the peak. Like, from the movies to the cartoons, food.
Different genre of music.
Love it.
The next question.
The next question. What area produced better music? So 83% of you said the East Coast, 9% said West, and 9% said South.
What do you say?
So, I would say East, and I think the reason why East has it higher is because when you think about the birth of hip hop, yes, history. The birth of hip hop came out of New York, birthed in New York. I think they said in August 1970 something, 78, 79 or something, that it was birthed. And then from then on, New York had a stronghold on hip hop for the longest. Even going into the 90s, and then late 90s going to the late 80s going into the 90s, artists started to emerge from the West Coast. Yeah. And then you had an era where people were saying East Coast, West Coast, that whole battle, and how we end up losing Biggie and Tupac and that whole aspect of it. And then during that time period of the 90s, you had artists from the South coming out. How we end up with Outkast.
While we were busy fighting, the South was like, bet, this is our time.
We're going to make our... You have UGK. You have... Every area in the United States have their own sound, have their own artists. For those of you who really want to know, like, the real, like, background information about hip-hop, like, if you have Netflix or care to have Netflix, I know Netflix been on a crumb now with charging people mad money. Look up Hip Hop Evolution on Netflix. It's a dope documentary. It goes through all the different areas of hip-hop, like the South, Midwest, West Coast, all that. And it talks about the artists and how they came about. And I think it's really dope how some of them intertwined with each other. So, but of course, I truly feel East Coast, but I've been feeling the vibe from the South as well since, like, I'll say the early 2000s. I started vibing with Southern music. How about you?
I think I was into all genres because of MTV.
Yes.
So I knew a little bit of rock. I knew a little bit of punk rock. I knew a little bit of
techno.
All of it. Like Evanescence, Blink 182, house music, all of that.
Black people dominated house music. People be sleeping thinking it's white people music.
Yep.
Nah. We dominated.
So I really don't have like an area in which I'm like, oh, this is like my favorite. Where did R&B originate from? Like, where did it start? That's the better question. Cause I'm like, I got R&B in a chokehold at this time.
Rhythm and blues?
Yeah, I guess maybe.
No, that's what R&B is short for. Rhythm and blues.
Then why the hell did you just say R&B, girl?
Cause you said I guess, and I'm like rhythm and blues. Like you wasn't even sure. Fix your face. That was probably like
it's the brag rights. You're over here bragging like, yeah, it's called rhythm and blues.
No one says it. Of course, no one's gonna say it the word for word. No, it's R&B, but no, I think if memory serves me right, I think it's like the early 1900s. Like obviously in jazz spots,
those
black people,
we
did that, of course. Even rock and roll, we did that. The blues, we did that. So I mean, I don't know what else to tell y'all. But overall, I think. Honestly, I wouldn't change. So if you know how people ask you, oh, if you can go back, would you change anything? I wouldn't change anything, right? Everything was supposed to happen when it happened, right? But I would definitely would love to go back to the 90s, just experience it and probably like live in the moment and not rush.
I was going to say the same thing.
Like live in the moment, enjoy being a child at that point. Like, or if I can go back, not as a child, but go back and see myself during that era, like what I was doing. Like I have it's crazy how I can still remember a lot of heavy stuff back then, but something I did last week, I'm like, yo, I don't remember what I did last week for the most part. But
it's bad.
Like, you know, having your fresh crush and
Yeah.
the music we were listening to, like, when I had no business singing Downtown by SWV. I didn't know what it was about until I got old. I'm like, oh, she's talking about Downtown. And that's the difference too. I said it, me and you had that conversation before too, how like, even the music back then, our parents probably had an idea like, oh, this isn't appropriate. But the way the message was given, we didn't know they were talking about sex.
Yeah.
Now it's like, our kids know what the hell these artists are talking about.
But that, for the most part, we weren't exposed to sex.
We weren't really exposed
So
to
even
it.
if they said sex, we're like, I don't know what that is.
We would probably think, oh, you're talking about female, male?
The other thing, what is it? Gender identity? Like,
yeah.
You know?
That's what we would think about. We wouldn't think about, oh, it's actually two people with intercourse.
Yeah, yeah.
We weren't exposed to those certain things. We weren't like drowning in sex, but even though sex was on TV, our parents was like, you can't watch that, or you know the thing, cover your eyes and you trying to poke.
Yep. Like, what's happening?
Yeah, so my parents used to do that. There's certain movies like my parents didn't mind me watching, but there were like certain scenes as a little girl. There's like, you shouldn't be watching that. Cover your eyes, and I'll cover my eyes trying to poke. And then when it was done, my father was like, okay, you can open your eyes. It was so weird. But kids nowadays are exposed to a lot, and part of it is social media because you can't track everything they're doing. But nostalgia, like again, I would love to go back to the 90s, even early 2000s. I know we talk about the 90s a lot.
I'm waiting for the jersey dresses to come back.
Girl, and throw on my Air Forces with the Melissa joint. Or the Chinese slippers with all the colors.
No, I was never on that fucking wave.
Oh, I was on that wave.
That Chinese slippers was not it.
I was on that wave. I wore them inside the house a lot, but that was
those
it.
are house slippers.
But the Melissa joints,
the
with the M's.
Bro, in the clear plastic, them jellies.
Oh my god,
jellies.
I missed that shit. I missed the jersey dresses.
I miss dressing my nieces up. Like my sister played no games when it came to her kids. Like her kids was always fly, and my nieces used to have like the bandana tube tops with the jean shorts. It was just so cute.
Remember
I missed
the
them
jean
like
skirts?
babies.
Jean
Yes,
skirts.
they had all of it. I remember they took a Valentine's Day photo shoot and they were decked out in some Old Navy. You know, Old Navy used to have like the holiday shirts. So they had like a heart.
dollars flip flops. They used to.
No,
I
didn't
mean,
have no dollar flip flops, but they were cute. They were
Old
so
Navy
cute.
was
No, I
on
know,
sale,
but like
yeah.
that was not the thing. I think to wrap up my thoughts on this, I will say exactly what Peggy said. I wish I was in the moment more, as opposed to trying to rush to become an adult and like hating it. So anyone who's watching who's still in their teens, early 20s, like early 20s, before 25, I think you should definitely like really sit in the moment, like experience it, remember it, enjoy it, like breathe it in, and just, you know, because that's just gonna fly by, and then you're gonna be like, what happened?
Yo, and I'm happy you said that and don't let societal norms make it like you have to rush, because honestly, I was panicking when I realized I'm about to be 25. Like, oh shit,
Man,
I don't have this,
I'm like,
I don't have
I'm
that.
old.
And especially as women, society puts so much pressure on us. Like, oh, you have to have a kid by 25. You gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta be married. Here I am again 10 years later, 35. I'm content, I'm happy where life is. Do I wish I took my time to not rush? Yes, I truly do wholeheartedly believe that, but I am happy where I'm at, but I wish I can go back and tell my younger self, like, don't need to rush, girl. You got time. Do it at your own pace. Be happy. Stack your money. Travel, which I've always done. But, like, tell myself that it's going to be okay. Just plan accordingly, of course, but go with the flow at the same time.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to rush through life thinking, like, I'm going to miss out. I'm not missing out on nothing. Like, I'm having a grand old fucking time.
And if you guys want to put it into perspective, like, after 25, 25 down is such a short period. You literally have from 25 till whenever your time comes.
Yeah.
That could be in your 50s, in your 60s. Your adult life is much longer than your childhood.
That's crazy.
And so, just think about that.
Oh my God.
There's nothing that you can't just wait for as when it becomes when you become an adult.
Yeah.
So that's why adults be trying to do young shit like, Me and my siblings, we always do outdoor activities in the summer.
So it don't matter.
So
Life is too short for you to be taking every single thing so seriously. So it's good to enjoy it. And I like the fact that you brought that point. Because I remember someone saying it to parents, saying like, your child's childhood is so short. You need to enjoy every moment that you can with them because they spend most of their life being adults.
Yeah.
So, you know, when they start hitting that awkward stage of puberty, they start acting funny. Some of them might distance themselves from you, and that's okay. Because I noticed when I used to be so clingy to my parents, even though they were straight, it got to a point I started to distance myself, not in a hateful way, because I wanted to find myself, because I wanted to be a young adult. I'm a teenager, my body's going through all these changes, and I couldn't wait to grow up so fast. And then not realizing that my childhood, you didn't know when your childhood ended. You just realized I'm a young teen. And the aspect of being outside, like, we never knew that time being outside with our friends would be the last time. Like, you're going into puberty now, you're a young adult, you don't want to be outside no more, you want to be cute and whatever. So we didn't know that was going to be it, and we fucked up. I fucked up. I wish I enjoyed that a little bit longer.
Just a little bit longer.
Just a little bit. And of course, per usual, oh shit, I forgot my book that's usually with me that says the shout out, but I do remember the shout out.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm about to say, well, we're not going to have one this time.
No, I remember it because I was looking at the book. So this week's business shout out, of course, per usual, is always a black business. This time I was able to find a male business owner on my page.
Thank God.
The name of the business is Mango Man Swerve. I've actually ordered mangoes from him before. Like, he'll actually deliver it to your home, like ship it to your house. Like, I guess he has a connection in Haiti, and they'll ship the mangoes to him. He has a warehouse, and then he'll ship it out to you or have someone bring it to you. Mangoes are bomb. And he does other business ventures as well. I don't remember the full spelling, so of course it's going to be in the description box, of course, when you guys listen to this. And on IG, we'll tag him as well. But I've seen what he's done. I guess he's into food catering too, even car rentals. So he's doing a lot from what I've seen on his social media. So definitely check him out. But he's especially known for his mangoes. And mangoes is the bomb ass fruit. Y'all missing out if y'all don't like mangoes. Who raised y'all if y'all don't like mangoes?
I love mangoes.
So again, thanks again for catching us on another week, another episode.
Thanks, guys. Bye.